Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Ryan, Gamertag Dad, and today we're continuing on with the Elden Ring. Now, you are going to notice for the first 5 or so minutes of this video, it's going to be music instead of game sounds. I didn't check OBS properly, and OBS didn't capture something like 2 hours worth of content in terms of sound. So, I had a bunch of clips and no audio, so I've cut out well over nearly 2 hours worth of footage and just kept the two key points, which the first one is finally the death of the Godskin duo, even not duos. This fight took me a lot longer than expected. As you saw from the previous video, I died right at the very end, and I decided not to do the montage because I didn't record the audio. So I think I died something like 15, 16 times to this boss, maybe more. It's just a fat one. Fat one just either belly flops you or rolls on you, and it was just a pain in the ass to deal with. The skinny one's alright to deal with, and actually the strategy or the tip I was given is kill the skinny one and the fat one becomes a lot easier. But there is a lot of downtime between these bosses. See, we downed the skinny one, waited a while, got rid of the fat one, and then the skinny one spawns. And once you get it down to this point where you've only got one of them alive, it's 10 times easier. Like, it isn't a brain dead fight, but it does become a lot easier to fight. And you'll see here, this is the point where I died last time. I dropped it down to about this health and then got my ass handed to me. Now, I learnt a lot of lessons over the course of the hours. This fight, I think it took me longer than the fire giant from the previous video. But, you know, we get there. We got there eventually. My mimic goes ahead and does the final blow. I go ahead and actually get the stone bell, which is brilliant. But then I actually realised after this I didn't actually have number 1 and number 2, so I could buy the later stones, but I couldn't buy the first one. So again, I don't have the audio for it, but I went ahead and got bell number 1. I do need to go and get bell number 2 at some point. But this fight here is probably the best fight, or my most favourite fight, I would say, in the whole of Elden Ring. When you hit the second phase in this, it is insane. I was a little bit annoyed. It wasn't the words I used when I worked it out, but it was definitely something I wasn't happy with, because this was the best fight, and I kind of wish I had just died instead of killing it off. The first phase isn't difficult, isn't great. It's not the best. He's kind of just a big stagnant beast that stands relatively still and throws stuff. He's a bit nimble. However, once you drop him down to phase 2, he suddenly becomes a completely different character. And I have gone ahead and skipped it. I had the whole video footage of this. It was brilliant. And we go ahead and we get the Black Blade. Now, this boss, if you ever watch shorts or TikTok or anything like that, is quite a well-used boss, just because of how cool his movement is, really. He's not the most difficult boss. He is classified as difficult, but if you're a straight tank and spank, it's pretty easy. He did kill me, I think, 3 times. Not a lot, 2-3 times maybe. This was either the 3rd or 4th attempt, and I down him. Nice and easy, and I go ahead, get the blade, and it has a really cool cutscene, which I have left in. There's just no sound to it, but normally I would go quiet and let you enjoy the audio that goes with it, but, you know, unfortunately accidents happen. If it was just a case of me exploring, I would have just gone and re-recorded it, but as we all know, once you kill the bosses, they don't respawn unless you go ahead in the New Game Plus. So we do go ahead and get the blade. I tried this blade out a little bit, but I haven't exactly used it much. I don't have a build that really supports it, but it is apparently a ridiculously broken weapon, even though I think it's been nerfed a few points, but it's still pretty damn good. This was by far one of my favourite cutscenes in the game, and again, gutted, absolutely gutted. I think this, and then crazy chick setting herself on fire as well, watching the Erdtree burn. That is it's a bit crazy. But it's a massive shame. It even commentates it. Luckily the subtitles have stayed in, so if you are interested, the subtitles are there. But you're essentially watching the world burn. And what I quite like about it is when you go ahead which I have been doing, going back to the other areas, the Erdtree is obviously it's on fire, but you get the ashes around you rather than it just being set to one region. Obviously the Erdtree kind of dominates the entire region, so you do get the flames fall down, which is quite cool. Now I've been going ahead and collecting some bits for the next build, which is going to be Jesus. We've gone ahead and collected some of it. Later on this weekend I'm going to go collect the ability to throw rocks, and I think I've got enough death root for that. I think they're called death roots. You have to go to the beast in Khalid right at the end there, and actually there's a clip of me killing the gargoyle outside, which used to one-shot me almost. Now just tanked and spanked it. It kind of makes a huge difference when your gear's a lot better and your weapon, your health, everything is just 10 times better than what it is. Now we're about to just shift into clips with finally some audio and the biggest meme boss in the game. And again, if you watch shorts or TikTok or whatever, you'll see this boss appears a lot, and I didn't realise how terrible the boss was. So I spawned my mimic. I'm slamming a few potions, I'm slamming my boost. Just before this I slammed a rune arc thinking, alright, okay, here's a main boss. He did hit me like 2, maybe 3 times maximum. There you go, there's a second hit. He hit me twice and he just melted. I didn't realise. I texted my friend after this and was like, well, is this boss supposed to be difficult? And he then pretty much showed me how much of a meme this boss had become. People are one-shotting it, people are kicking it, all the weird and wonderful builds that you can do in this game, and I didn't realise how easy it was. The most annoying thing about this fight is just how long he talks for. But you get all of his gear. I've not physically tried it, I have no idea what these bonuses do. It looks alright, kind of like from Lord of the Rings, I guess. But this was an amazing fight, and I'm so glad I spotted OBS wasn't recording my audio for this fight. Just going to go quiet here for the cutscene.
It's been a long while, Morgoth. Long and hard didst thou fight, tarnished warrior, spurned by the grace of gold. Be assured the Elden Ring resteth close at hand. Alas, I am returned. To be granted audience once more. Upon my name as Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
I've seen so many fights of Godfrey, and he looks really, really challenging. He has 2 phases in case you've never fought him before, and he hits like a truck. So I think again, it's only took me like 3 or 4 attempts, maybe 5 at an absolute push. You work out quite quickly actually how the fight works. Now he has essentially his massive axe, and for the first phase he's just wildly swinging. He does a few AoE ground hits, and you'll see as well he actually splits the earth open, and if you're not careful it's going to decimate you. There we go, here it comes. And now I do include the death here, and I just wanted to show you of what actually happens, as this part of the fight is incredibly important because you need to move. If you don't move, you'll get exactly the same treatment as what I got, which is yourself being decimated. I know I've said it previously here that the boss previously was my favourite, This is up there. I think out of the top 5 bosses, if you're going to rank them, I think Godfrey sits up there in the top 5. Definitely not top 1. If I had to take a punt at top 1, it's probably the fight I've just done, the old Black Blade, just because it was so much fun to learn, and it was really difficult to learn. The most pain in the ass fight I think I've come against is Fire Giant, which is my least favourite, and then followed by the God Skins. But I would say Godfrey is definitely up there. And you can just see here, I have quite a tanky build in terms of I have high vigour, I have good armour, and I have a high endurance now. Obviously endurance doesn't keep you alive, but endurance allows you to wear the better armour so you're not fat rolling. If you don't know what fat rolling is, it's when you've got too much armour on or too many weapons on and your weight class is shifted from medium, which is where you want to sit ideally. If you sit in the medium range, then you can dodge a lot easier. It took me, when I was doing how I used to do my videos, it took me like I think it's the second or third episode, someone messaged me or put a comment down and said I was fat rolling. I had no idea what he meant, and there's a guy teabagging there. I didn't even realise that had happened. Now the fat roll just means you don't go very far. It just means you're a bit tankier, I guess, if you've got the gear on, but it's not for everyone. But I've been stacking endurance because I wanted to play with Radahn's armour on. Again, going to go quiet here because this is quite a cool cutscene.
That will be all. Thou didst me good service, Siraj. I've given thee courtesy enough. Now I fight as Horalu.
As we see, he's gone full beast mode now. Ripped his best friend apart, and I actually thought I was dead at that point. I've seen a few videos of when you get grabbed and you get spun around. If you have a low vigour, it's a one shot. And from what I've been learning from people is you want to stack a bit of vigour just to keep yourself alive. But you'll see here, there's another AoE move. I just got lucky at that point. I was just far enough away, but I was derping out. It didn't actually affect me. But my mimic's still alive somehow. I have no idea how. But you'll see from this fight here, he does a shout, he does a stamp, which is another AoE move. He slaps the ground, another AoE move. You've just seen the bit where he kind of turns the floor, not to lava, but kind of ripples it a bit. Which almost, I can imagine, would one-shot you if you're not careful. I finally start utilising my jump attacks. It's taken me such a long time to get to that point. And I should have executed him. I don't know what I was thinking, why I just went ahead and smacked him once. I could have got the critical hit off, which would have been amazing. Now, we do show me eventually getting into the Elden Beast, and I didn't realise that Malenia is not part of the storyline, in case you didn't know, if you've never got this far in the game before, but Malenia isn't part of it. She's in a secret area with the Scarlet Rots. Now, I am going to pause on the Elden Beast for a while because I really want to go ahead and find her. Now, that is classified as the worst boss in the game in terms of difficulty. But, you know, Elden Ring isn't an easy game, and I still need to go ahead and collect all my stuff for my Jesus build. Unfortunately, I sold my armour. I need to go back and kill patches or save patches or whatever with patches, whatever we decide to do this time. But I am going to show the cutscene into the Elden Beast. Now, the Elden Beast is split into two phases. Phase 1, you face Malenia's dad. Spoiler, if you didn't already know. And you also face, once they die, their body is decimated, which looks like it's turned into the weapon, and it's converted into the Elden Beast. We go ahead and jump straight into phase 1 here. Phase 1 isn't super difficult, but I've never done it before, and I do burn through like 8 or 9 health pots here, which I didn't realise when you jump into phase 2, you're screwed. You need more items with you. Now, he has quite a few move sets here. A lot of his is like a holy damage AoE, has a cone ability, and from what I've learned, you roll into him. You have to roll. I messed a critical strike up again. I don't even know how I do it, but he has AoE abilities. You can jump these, you can roll into them, and you won't get hit. That one there, I didn't realise you jump. Simple as that. Just jump over it. He just hits like an absolute truck. So if your build doesn't focus on vigor or have any form of health, you are probably going to struggle with the latter end of this game, unless you are amazingly skilled, which I'm not. Now, I have been enjoying this boss, even though it's killed me several times already, and I have taken a bit of a pause in it. We are off to go find Malenia. Whether I kill her or not is another story. I will probably end up dying to her several times and maybe just go back to the story. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll go back as Jesus and repent her away from her scarlet rot. Now this is phase 2. Again, quite another cool cutscene. The cutscenes get a hell of a lot better as you go through the game. Not that they're not that good anyway, they are very good at the start. But they do get better as the game progresses. And you'll see what I mean. Puts his arm in. He almost grabs out the rib cage, or what's left of his rib cage. But he is converted into the sword. Now the Elden Beast fight itself isn't super difficult. He's not incredibly tanky, he's quite squishy. However, if you're not landing those hits, you're screwed. It just runs away all the time. That's the difficulty part of it, the boss. It just swims away. It's like a massive fish. It's kind of like a fish had a love child with a dinosaur with a dragon. And this is what we're left with. The moves that absolutely destroyed me were more the moves sat with the AoE abilities and the magic abilities. I don't even know what way to run, whether to run into it or dodge it. I'm going to have to just trial and error. I know a few of my friends played this game. It took quite a while killing this for the first time. Now if you haven't made it this far, I'm curious to see if you can comment in below what actually happens at the end. Not the cutscene, but can you still carry on playing the game? I have no idea. I've never finished a game of Elden Ring and I've been trying to avoid the ending as much as possible. But do you have the ability to keep playing, not under a new game plus, but once I take the Elden Throne, can I go ahead and go back on a few bosses, because there's still items I want to collect. I want to kill the Elden Beast, but I also don't want to mess up getting the weapons, or getting the armour I need, or getting the incantations that I need. And this is the bit. It does so much damage, and this is just what one-shots me, I think. Yeah. I didn't know he still had the sword, which is ridiculous, because we literally watch a whole cutscene of him grabbing a sword. But I didn't dodge the sword, and it looks like the sword just does so much damage. So I have been advised to go back and level up a bit more. I'm level 106 at the moment, which is relatively quite high, but if you've not ever played the game before, it's not really high enough. You still need to continue going up and up and up the leveling system here. This is a really cool idea for a fight, and I do go ahead and give it another crack. Spoiler, I die. I think I die even quicker here. And I have cut most of the fight out because there was no need for it. You don't want to watch me die over and over and over again. I will create a montage, but what I'm going to do for the next series, or my Jesus series, is I'm going to keep as many of the deaths as possible, and the trials, and testing, and whatever really, and shove it into a compilation or montage within the last video, just to show you all the trial and error process that we went through. There's a build I've seen being done, but it's not a build I've seen a huge amount of, and I'm so curious to see how it works. We will be using summons, but I won't be using all the summons. We're going to try and stay on kind of par of what we would expect him to do. What would Jesus do is going to be the motto for the whole thing. Now, we dropped to the round table, and like I was saying earlier, you can see within the round table it's a little bit on fire. And the old husk lady is down, but she still gives us stuff. Now, I should have really gone for the earth shaker. It was pretty silly I didn't, but I didn't have the runes on me and I got lazy. But the earth shaker is what I should have gone for, because I could have tied that in with Jesus, really. What would Jesus do? He could shake the earth. Now, I need to come back to the Beastal Sanctum, because I need to hand in some Death Root, because he gives you the ability to throw rocks. I can't remember exactly what it is, but the chap at the end there will give you that ability. Now, this is the gargoyle I was talking about. This gargoyle absolutely wrecked me the first time I did it, or maybe the first 10 times I did it. It is an insane boss. But we're level 106, man. It wasn't actually that difficult afterwards. I have my mimic, and that it hit me for half health. If that was a few hours ago, or say a few hours ago, like 8-9 hours ago of gameplay, you would have watched me got one shot time after time after time again. And you'll see some golden people chilling. Those people are part of the party I joined. I joined like a standard, very generic party of codes, so if you ever need help, people are there to jump into the bosses. I've only really used boss help on a few bosses. I've been trying to just do it on my own, but maybe I'll speed run through the game, not for any records, because there's no way I'm ever going to do that in sub an hour, or let alone sub 10 hours, but a speed quicker run through just me playing as I would. But we're coming right to the end here. I hope you have all enjoyed it. I hope you do stick around for the next ones coming up, and look forward to the Jesus series. But don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye!